Alright, so there's zero time to be wasting on an intro. We have 4 heads of garlic, we have peppers, we're gonna make a roasted garlic hot sauce. We have chicken, a handful of spices, we're gonna combine the two and make some shredded chicken. So let's get into it.
To start, we're going to roast off some garlic. Cut the tops off the garlic, place each individually onto a sheet of aluminum foil, and hit it with half of a teaspoon of oil. The garlic now needs to be seasoned. I'm using my homemade smoked paprika-seasoned salt to season mine with. I'll leave a link to the recipe in the description if you want to go ahead and check that out. A nice heavy pinch goes on each and freshly cracked black pepper to finish. I love how that salt looks on the garlic and it's going to give it an even better flavor. Now you need to wrap each head of garlic up tightly in the aluminum foil. Place them in a glass Pyrex dish, and in a preheated oven, these are going to roast at 400 degrees and they're going to go for about 50 minutes to 1 hour. The cooking times may vary. The garlic is to be soft and slightly brown. Next step is to prep some chicken. I have a red cutting board that is specific for handling raw chicken. I like to trim off bits and pieces of the fat and any kind of bones that may have remained during the butchering process. Next on the list is putting together a delicious seasoned salt that's going to add a nice flavor profile to the entire dish. You can find the recipe in the description. It's going to be salt, garlic powder, onion powder, cumin, chili powder, paprika, cayenne pepper, cinnamon, black pepper, dried oregano. Whisk to incorporate. Now the recipe that's in the description is a bigger batch and I'm using about a quarter cup's worth for this recipe. Drizzle about a tablespoon's worth of neutral oil onto the chicken breast, and don't forget to season both sides of the chicken breast as well. This of course is seasoned to taste, so obviously feel free to go as light or as heavy as you want on the seasonings. Homemade seasoned salts keep very nicely in a mason jar with a tight fitting lid. I mean, they'll be good for up to a year, but the flavors are best if you use them within 3 months. Now for the fun part, making the hot sauce. I'm using guajillo chilies, which they are relatively mild on the spice level. They sit around 2,500 to 5,000 Scoville heat units, which is slightly less than a jalapeno. I mean, of course you could substitute a hotter pepper if you choose to do so. So I'm removing the stems and shaking out the seeds the best I can. Gonna toast these in a saute pan along with a pinch of cumin seeds. I'm looking for a slight discoloration on the peppers and they're gonna become fragrant when they're ready. This entire process should only take about 3 to 5 minutes, and I flip the peppers after about a minute and a half. Once the peppers and the cumin seeds have become fragrant, give them a pinch of kosher salt, 1.5 cups water, 3/4 cup white distilled vinegar. Now we're going to bring that liquid up to a simmer. Now we're still working over medium-low heat. Once that liquid does come up to a simmer, put a lid on the pan and we're going to continue simmering with the lid on for about 10 minutes, flipping the peppers over halfway through the cooking time. After that 10 minutes is up, kill the heat and let those peppers steep in that liquid for an additional 10 minutes. At this point in time, the peppers are to be very, very soft. Put them in a blender or a Nutribullet as I have, and you're going to want to blend these peppers up with a good amount of their cooking liquid. I'm using my 6-blade attachment that I have from the Nutribullet, and that really works well for purees and sauces. Let the blender rip 10 to 15 seconds, adding more liquid as necessary. Once the garlic has been removed from the oven and is cool enough to touch, you can see that the garlic is very soft. Carefully pinch out each of the garlic cloves. You'll end up with a decent amount of roasted garlic. This is a roasted garlic hot sauce after all. Now that the garlic cloves have been extracted from the heads of garlic, add them directly to that sauce. Puree one more time until the garlic is fully broken down. This should only take about 15 to 20 seconds. Stirring the sauce out. Now if you have a higher power blender, this step may not be necessary. I use a small ladle to lightly force the puree through the fine mesh strainer. What is left behind is the seeds and the pulp. Now you could dry this pulp out in a very, very low heated oven, grind it up and add it to some salt for a delicious homemade seasoned salt. Now I'm going to mix up 1 cup chicken stock to 1 cup hot sauce. In a baking dish with the chicken, top the chicken with all of that hot sauce. The chicken should be covered at least halfway up with the chicken stock / hot sauce mixture. I ran out of tinfoil when I was trying to cover up the chicken, so I'm going to put the chicken into a large enough pan that I know I have a lid for. Just happens to be my large saute pan that I cook with all the time. Add all the chicken to the pan, add all the hot sauce, toss it into an oven that's been preheated 300 degrees, and that's going to go for 2.5 to 3 hours. You could optionally flip the chicken over halfway through the cooking process if you want. After the 2.5 to 3 hour mark, the chicken should be able to shred apart incredibly easy. I'm using a pair of tongs and a fork just to lightly break up the chicken. The chicken's gonna absorb all of that beautiful flavor that's in that sauce that it's been cooking in. Now I place the shredded chicken into a glass Pyrex dish to allow it to cool. Give the chicken a taste, adjust the seasoning as necessary. I added a little pinch of salt, some more freshly cracked black pepper. Preferably, I like to allow this chicken to cool overnight. That way it really absorbs all of those flavors that's in the hot sauce, and it's gonna just help develop even more flavor. Of course, there is nothing wrong with eating it the same day. You'll definitely notice a difference if you let it cool off overnight, soaking up all those delicious flavors. This is one of my favorite meal prep items. I mean, I like using it in enchiladas, burritos, tacos, as a side of scrambled eggs. Whatever you want to use it for, you'll love it. It's easy, it's delicious.